Hey everybody, it is Jennifer Nagel, Figured Out Fitness. But today I'm just really coming to you as Jennifer Nagel. So, a change of scenery today. You see that I am not in my office, not in the kitchen, I'm in the bed. And I just wanted to talk to you all today. Have you ever had one of those days when you had everything planned out, everything was popping on your calendar, and you knew what you're going to do, and you had a plan for the day, and then nothing went as planned? Well, that's how my day is going today. So, today, our meal prep video or meal planning series was supposed to tackle swaps and substitutions. And I do have a great outline for that. But honestly, I just felt the need to come to you and just be completely real about my day today. You guys know that I am human, stuff happens, but today has been a total freaking fail. So, maybe I just need to hear from other people to know that I'm not the only one who's had one of those days. Even now, I'm trying to do stuff on Instagram. That's not working. So it's just been one of those days. Meal prep and planning is great. It's very important. And I think that was one of the final straws for my fails today. So I woke up, had a lovely weekend with my family, a much needed weekend with my family. There's been a lot going on, and just wanted to spend time with them. I feel guilty, so if any of my church folks are there, I did not go to church on Sunday, and the reason that that's important, there's a whole lot of very important stuff happening at church, but I really had to prioritize myself and my family this weekend. So I did that, had a lovely weekend. We did a lot of stuff in our house. We moved a couple months ago, so this house has been like one of the sources of stress for me and my husband. So we moved a few months ago and we said, this is the day we're going to do our family stuff together, work on our house, and we did that and it was great. So had a great night's sleep, woke up, had a really good workout. Well, mostly had a good workout. I was exhausted. I don't know where that came from. It just kind of hit me out of nowhere. Ugh, screw you, Instagram. Anyway, Facebook people, you got me then, 100%. So it came out of nowhere, and I was just exhausted. So I coach at Orange Theory Fitness, best place in the land, and I see Joe joined, so he saw me this morning. But yeah, I was very exhausted, did my workout anyway, and then I was like, oh, great, workout done. I'm just going to go home, shower, and start working for the day and have a good time. Well, not good time, but I'm going to head out again. I had my big list. I had my things that I was going to tackle. Got home a few minutes early. I'm like, man, I'm home early. 5 seconds later, get a text from someone I'm supposed to meet with. And it's like, hey, aren't we supposed to meet at 10 o'clock? Ah! So that's how my day started. I was sleep deprived. I was tired. I missed a meeting and then went back and forth. Then there are certain, I had multiple appointments and just boom, 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 like dominoes. They just went down. So I'm just trying to recover from that. So Monday, I do a lot of meal prep. Sundays and Mondays, we do a lot of the preparation. So I was going to make one of my famous protein cheesecakes this time. It was going to have, or it was going to Oreo cookie flavored. I've got this great new Oreo whey protein, which I absolutely love. And was going to crush up. I had some macros from Oreo cookies and crush it up, put it in there. And somehow I've made this recipe for, I don't know, the last 2 years, and somehow it came out as soup. So that didn't work. So that was kind of my last straw. I just went upstairs to my bedroom. That's where I am now. And I went to sleep. So then I'm like, oh man, I still have this meal prep video to do. So I had minimal preparation like I normally do. I did have an outline. And actually, and at some point, I will talk about some macro swaps that you can use and some tips so that you know how to still eat within your macros and eat foods that are really good, but you just substitute a few ingredients to cut down on the fats and sugars or things that you might want to substitute. But for right now, I just wanted to let everybody know Jennifer is human. Jennifer had a rough day. And somehow, at the end of the day, despite me going grocery shopping and having multiple meetings, spending hours at my computer, nothing got done. So I have a soupy, fake protein cheesecake that I cannot eat, and literally was online 5 minutes ago researching meal delivery services because I was just done. I was done. So anyway, if you've had one of those days, love to hear about it so that I know I'm not the only one out there who is, not crazy. So let us talk a little at least about macros. So just to let me back up, for the month of April, we've been talking about flexible dieting, and that's that art of eating and dieting, or I don't know if diet's the right word. I hate that word because it makes it sound so temporary, but how about nutritional planning or nutritional eating, where you're looking at your macronutrient targets, macronutrients being protein, carbohydrates, and fats, choosing targets that align with your goals, whether that's weight loss or muscle gain, should say fat loss or muscle gain. And then we talked about in the second video about using my fitness plan to plan your meals. So using like my fitness plan or my macros plus, or those ways to track your meals, whether they're meals that have labels on them or recipes you create yourself. And last week, what did I talk about last week? Last week I talked about something, and this week was really geared towards swapping things out. So I had a couple of really great examples, and they came into play today because in one of my other fails at the grocery store. So I had my whole meal plan planned out as I do every single week, and I headed to the grocery store, and they did not have, I don't think they had one single item that I actually wanted to buy. Items that I've been purchasing probably off and on for the last 2 to 3 years. So I went to Sam's Club, and they did not have the type of salmon that I was looking for. And so I had to do some quick thinking, quick swapping, pulled out my phone from my Fitness Pal to make sure my macros fit, and swapped it out. But it really led me to think about some of the other big swaps that I tend to do, and not necessarily always for convenience, but because I want to eat something and it is not in my macros. So one time I looked at this really delicious salmon meal, and you guys will hear me talk about salmon a lot because I really like salmon. It's very good. Salmon is a great fish, fatty fish, high in fat, and the good kind of fat. So I'll eat it often, but because the salmon has so much fat in it, usually I try to limit the fat in the other parts of the meal. So one of my favorite meals to make is actually creamed spinach. And I never thought, I mean, the 12-year-old version of me is saying creamed spinach is nasty. Anyway, so one of the things I thought that I would make would be salmon with creamed spinach. But then, you know, if you think about how you actually make cream spinach with real cream, I mean, if you've ever looked at, let's see, heavy whipping cream has about, 5 grams, 10 grams of fat per tablespoon or 2 tablespoons, something like that. It's high in fat. You can't really use a whole lot of it. So one of the ways you have to start thinking about food, and this is the food scientist in me, is to think about ways to swap ingredients that give you the same mouthfeel and taste without the calories. So instead of cream spinach with the cream, think about using a Laughing Cow Swiss cheese wedge, melting it while you steam your salmon, and then it's a creamy tasting salmon. And the Laughing Cow cheese wedge is 35 calories, so maybe 2 grams of protein, 1 carb, 1.5 grams of fat. That's sad that I know that. With steamed spinach and salmon. Now, what if you do like salmon and it's like, ooh, I can't swing the 27 grams of fat? There's also a substitute that I use at Meijer, Sam's Club, which I actually had to use today, called salmon burgers. So it is still salmon, but I should care about why it's not so high in fat, but it's not. It's just a burger patty. It tastes very good. It's just like salmon, only it's got a quarter of the fat, maybe a third of the fat that a regular filet of salmon. I'm struggling today. It's Monday. You are struggling. Give me a like. Just give me a thumbs up so that I know that it is okay. That I'm going to make it through the day. So those are some things that are really great substitutions. So many of you probably heard about zucchini noodles, and that's another huge thing. Pasta, as delicious as it is super high in carbohydrates. And not only that, it gives you, thank you for the thumbs, you guys. It gives you, it's just a lot of simple carbs and processed carbs. I really try to stay away from pasta. Personally, I'm not a huge fan. It makes me feel really heavy and bloated. But there are times where you just want some, good old-fashioned spaghetti and noodles or comfort food. So zucchini noodles, or really a lot of vegetable noodles are out there. If you haven't tried it, don't knock it. I know it sounds kind of funky because at first I heard about zucchini noodles and I'm like, okay, I'm just not feeling that. But they're actually pretty good, and add some sauce to it and your favorite meat or meatless if you're vegetarian or vegan. And try it. It's very delicious. So a lot of times you really just need to think about the flavors that you're craving. So if you want something spicy, salty, whatever, it doesn't necessarily have to come on a chip. It can come with veggie chips. Or oh, I love spicy stuff. So my kids, and I hate admitting this because I hate how they eat. But anyway, our kids really like hot fries, those like big $2 bags of things that look like, I don't know, carcinogen in a bag. They like hot fries. And, you know, if you're thinking about something spicy with some crunch, think about using some vegetable chips or something like that with like some spicy peppers or seasonings that are really hot and spicy. So you get that spice, you get that crunch, you get all of those things without the trans fats and God knows, and yellow dye number 5 or whatever stuff is on those hot. So there are a lot of ways. I'm curious if there are meals that you guys can think of off the top of your head that that you would like to swap out. And let's see if we can play this game to see what you can swap out right away. So if you have a favorite meal, burger and fries. That's my favorite one. That's an easy one, though. You got to give me something harder. And see if you can stump me, or maybe it's something I can think about for next time. I'm a huge fan of shakes. So shakes are great, not necessarily like the nasty little watery protein shakes. Now I do drink those for convenient purposes, and they're not always nasty. I shouldn't say that. But, you know, they shake it up, and it's not necessarily, a lot of times humans really like the experience of eating. They like the mouthfeel. They like the satiety of the thickness of the shake. Well, a great way to make any shake thicker and not using and having high quality nutrients is to add avocado. So avocados are a little higher in fat, but again, it's a good kind of fat. Rochelle, pizza, yes. I've talked about pizza, but I'll talk about pizza again in a little bit. But I like all sorts of shakes. So there is a protein from Complete Nutrition, and if you've never been there, go to Lansing, mention me. Go to Lansing. They've had an Annex banana bread flavored protein. Oh my gosh, it's the truth. Protein that you can just literally just drink and mixing the water. They also have an Annex brand, peanut butter chocolate, which is really good. But if you add, so today I had the banana bread protein with a little bit of oatmeal, right? A little bit of oatmeal, cashew milk. It's nice and creamy and thick. So I'm getting all the protein that I need for the morning, some really good slow digesting carbohydrates, and using cashew milk thickens it up. And it's not dairy. And for me in the morning, dairy, not so great. And cashew milk is just, it's 25 calories per serving. So it's very good and easy to do. So if you blend that up, it's delicious. So you think about drinking like a banana nut bread shake, even if you wanted to sprinkle a few walnuts or something on there to really make it feel like banana bread. I use this apple pie seasoning, which makes it really taste like, I don't know, like Christmas, like fall. So that's another swap that I like. Shakes are awesome because there's just endless flavors. So if you like straw, put fruit in, whatever, just think about your base, like a protein base, think about the liquid, think about adding ice, and then anything to thicken it up. So sometimes that is the ice, sometimes it's avocado, sometimes it's both, sometimes it's using a cashew or almond milk instead of water. So there are lots of ways to thicken those things up, and it's really like having, gosh, there's this one, I remember it's like a Wendy's smoothie. I about died and went to heaven. I think that was also another brand that they sell at Complete Nutrition, and they had a chocolate brownie. So again, I guess I'm really digging on Complete Nutrition. So check it out. They're in Eastwood Town Center in Lansing if you're local. So Rochelle had asked about pizza, and there are a lot of versions of, quote, healthy pizza. And I'm going to talk about a few, because there's like real pizza that you can really cut the calories out of. And then there's all these, all that is yummy. Good, Jackie. I hope they good. I hope they try it out because it's delicious. So then there's like the cauliflower pizza crust, and then even like chicken pizza crust. And those look really delicious. But let me tell you, I'm all about convenience when I cook. And I looked at that. I'm like, oh, that's too many steps. And I've never made it myself. But so let's first talk about regular pizza. Depending on where your macros are, the best way to have regular pizza with much lower macros is get thin crust, because the bread and the dough add so many calories. But if you think about it, a really crispy thin crust pizza, then you add a little bit of sauce and a little bit of cheese and most of your toppings, which are mostly veggie based or lean meats or small meats. It's not really going to be that much. You can have a regular pizza. So I know there are a lot of establishments that offer thin crust pizzas, so that's option number one. option number 2 is what I tend to do, which is basically make my own pizza at home. And instead of using a regular pizza crust, I'll use a pita or flat out bread. And again, add my own ingredients, just like I just mentioned. And then we've got all the creative crusts. So there's the cauliflower crust, and you can grind up cauliflower and add some things, press it down, and then cook it, and then put all that stuff on it. But again, I'm like, if it takes more than 10 minutes, I'm probably not going to do it. But if you guys do it, make sure you post pictures of it either on Facebook or on Instagram and tag me, so Figure It Out Fit, so that I can see what your results are. And if you have anything, and then if you have any tips for me, I'll make it. If you can tell me how to get it done in less than 15 minutes. Then again, buffalo chicken, not buffalo chicken, but the chicken crust pizza, the same thing. You're going to shred chicken, and I believe you mix something else with it. You smush all the, juices out, and then you bake the crust, and then you make the pizza. And that's actually, not only is it lower in carb, but it's way high in protein, because you not only have the crust that's protein based, but then whatever toppings you put on it too. So that's a good one. So does anybody else have any other meals that they like to make over, or swaps? Or if they're out in a restaurant, what they can do to swap things out? I'm trying to think of some of my favorites. I mentioned the cream spinach. Stir fry is already naturally pretty decent for you. Pizza, always one of my favorites. I think I've mentioned cheesecake about every single time I've done a video. So I might skip over cheesecake, but let me just tell you, the basics for cheesecake is you're looking for a creamy base and then add in. So today, well, if it would have worked. If you guys did miss the beginning part of my video, I talked about how this day has been a total fail on all parts. I did get my workouts in, and they were good, but I almost died on the treadmill at Orange Theory Fitness today. It was a great workout, so shout out to my Orange Theory peeps. It was great, and I don't know, my body's very tired. It took its toll on me whenever you're running on a steep incline on a treadmill, but it was good, and I encourage you to continue to check it out. Got my other shoulder workout in, so I even had to, wear my shoulder cut out so you can see my muscles. There we go. You see my muscles. Anyway, but the rest of the day was a total fail. And one of the things that I was making, hey, Brittany, thank you. One of the things I was making was a variation of my famous protein cheesecake, which has Greek yogurt, non-fat or low-fat, whatchamacallit, Philadelphia cream cheese. It's got protein in it, whey protein, powdered protein, eggs, and just some other basic ingredients. So I was going to make Oreo cookie version, because I have this Oreo cookie whey protein, and no matter the fact that I've made this recipe multiple times in the last several years, I've talked about it on this live forever, it just literally, I think the batter is still downstairs in soup formation. I was so frustrated. I cleaned up everything else and just left the batter and walked away, because in my mind, magically, that batter is going to turn into the batter that it should have been when I did it. So I won't talk about cheesecake again, but if you guys have any other meals or thoughts or tricks or hacks, there's one actually, Brittany's reminding me. So there's a lot of times where we're craving, thanks, husband. There's a lot of time where we're craving a lot of brownies or cookies or baked goods or those types of things. Hey, Salima, thank you for all the love. I've known this girl since 1997, so hi, Salima. She's awesome. If you guys are ever in the Shy, she's a wonderful one. Anyway, so Brittany reminds me, I'm usually not a huge fan of bars and processed foods. I try not to eat a lot of those. I try to limit those. They don't always sit well in my stomach, and I try to stick to my 80-20 rule. But when I do have the 20%, I have a Quest bar. If you guys haven't tried the easy microwaving the Quest bar for 15 seconds, 12 seconds in the microwave, it will change your world if you're eating Quest bars. By themselves, they're little waxy sticks, not really a huge, not really very appetizing. But for 12 seconds, those things get transformed. So the best versions of those are the s'mores or the graham cracker ones, blueberry muffin, that's very good, and the double chocolate, which actually is one of the lowest calorie and lowest fat. So if you really have a sweet tooth and you want something that satisfies that without having 400 calories and 55 grams of fat. You can grab a Quest bar, microwave it. And here's the other tip. This is how you like really take it from good to great. Okay. So PB Fit, or a powdered peanut butter, is it's literally peanut butter, peanuts that is powdered. A lot of the oil has been removed. If you take a couple tablespoons, 2 tablespoons, 12 grams, and it's a couple grams of protein. It's very minimal in fat. Just add a little bit of water, make it back into kind of that peanut butter paste, microwave one of those chocolate or s'mores based Quest bars, and then scoop a little bit of peanut butter PB Fit on that and eat that. Game changer. So if you're craving chocolate, peanut butter, those types of big, fatty, high calorie things, that's another swap that you can use for your macros. So those are good ones. So Salima says she's craving a large Dunkin' iced coffee with mocha, sugar, and cream. Great. I am going to give you a swap for that because oddly enough, for the first 30 years of my life, basically until last year, I was not a coffee drinker, did not drink coffee. But I figured, you know what, for some reason I decided to try it, right? I wanted to try some coffee, and I think maybe I was really sleepy at work one day at my old job, and then I put some cream or something in it. I'm like, oh, it's actually pretty decent. But to me, coffee didn't taste good until you put all that stuff in it. So Salima, when you're talking about the large Dunkin' iced coffee mocha, I get it, because coffee by itself to me is kind of nasty. But again, I can't afford to do that when I'm on prep. So we have one of the best things my husband picked out for the house was we have a refrigerator with a built-in Keurig in it. So we get fresh coffee right from the fridge with Keurig holder. We try to recycle the little K-cup for the environmental. So I make coffee, and instead of I do like a 1 tablespoon of heavy whipping cream. That's my little fat splurge. But using cashew or almond milk, or even stevia a little bit, so you get the sweetness, you get the creaminess to it. And you can, if you wanted to do an iced coffee or a blended coffee, you can go back to the tips that I was talking about before. So using ice and avocado, so you're adding a little bit of healthy fat to it. And actually, Salima, that would be really good because I know some of the things you're working towards. Have avocado and just blend it. And so you get that creamy coffee that's sweet and thick, but it's not like 100 million grams of sugar. So that's another good option for you. If you like it hot, then just, don't blend it with ice. So a lot of cashew and almond milk. And today I just bought one of those cashew almond milk blends, and that's pretty good to introduce that creamy flavor too. So that's my solution for all of those delicious coffee drinks. You can make those delicious coffee drinks, just be thoughtful. Anytime you're craving chocolate, so if you like a good mocha, that's chocolate, right? So I'm really, truly not a coffee drinker. Add the chocolate powder. So the Hershey's powder or the dark chocolate powder, again, lower in calories, and it does give you that big punch of chocolate in there. So you just add, I think it's maybe a tablespoon is the serving size. You don't get too many carbs in there. You get that heavy chocolate feeling. If you mix that with almond milk in your actual coffee, maybe a little stevia, then you've got a natural sweetener. You've got chocolate. You've got, the creaminess from the almond milk. And if you want to blend it and make it ice, you could either make it ice with just regular ice, or you could blend it. You can even add the avocado. Try it. Again, if you like it, tag me in it. If you don't like it, I never told you about it. I don't want to hear. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I love these ideas. So is there anybody else who has any thoughts about things we can make over or different macros? So Paul, my husband, is downstairs, I guess, filming this. He doesn't want to walk into the bedroom and told me that batter really smells good. So somehow I did something right, except the consistency is completely off. So if you have any more things that you're curious about how to swap to make fit in your macros, I am the queen of that, because when you need to stick within your diet, and it's not so much about restriction, I think a lot of it is there are so many easy, convenient foods that are not great for us. So, they talk about the best way to shop is to shop the perimeter of the grocery store, because that's where all the fresh foods are. And I was also talking to someone today. We were having a goal setting session, and they weren't they're really not ready for macros yet. And one of the best things I can say is instead of worrying about macros, try one ingredient food. So rice, chicken, eggs, so that way it's not overly processed, because a lot of times what gets us off in the macros are a lot of foods that have been doctored or processed to the point where they've added so much stuff in it to make it taste good, when in reality you're eating a whole lot of chemicals and sugar and high fats. And even the natural fats that are found in fish, or your omega-3s, or your omega-3, 6s, anyway, and your omegas and the fats from avocados and natural oils, you'll still tend to find those towards the edge of the store, and those are fine. Generally, if you're eating foods containing those types of things, you're eating a lot of whole foods, you're not going to overeat those foods. It's when you get in the center aisles with the Pop-Tarts and hot fries and those types of things, and anything in these packages, because they've been processed within an inch of their life. They don't really resemble the foods. They don't have the whole food to it. So all the fiber and all the other stuff has just been removed. So the key is, when I do a lot of macro swapping, it's like, what is the taste that I'm really craving? And I try to think about the types of foods that nature made that I can really put in there, minus the Laughing Cow Swiss cheese wedge. That is processed. It's not really a cheese spitting out, a little cow spitting out these wedges anywhere. But I really try to think about those whole foods that help support my belief of eating whole, less processed, non-processed types of food, so that I'm eating whole and nutritious foods with lots of good macros and good micronutrients as well. Micronutrients are your vitamins and minerals and those little things that are really also important for your health. So I love some of the suggestions and the interaction. Thank you so much for the thumbs up, you guys. This day started off crappy, but thanks to you, it did end in a very much more positive way. And again, if you see the beginning, if you missed the beginning of the video and I talked about my epic fail of a day, and how I originally wasn't gonna do any macro stuff. I was just gonna sit here and complain and hope that I had some complain buddies. But the day's gotten instantly better. Thank you guys for joining in. I'm going to post this video on my YouTube channel. Make sure you check out my website, figuredoutfitness.com. Right on the website, there is a subscribe button for free content. So once a month, I'm not going to spam you, but once a month, I'm going to provide some exclusive free content to those that subscribe. So you look for some exercises, some more tips and tricks, maybe some special things and discounts for you. So if any of those things sound interesting, go to figuredoutfitness.com, subscribe. It's right next to Susie's success story. So definitely check that out. Got some new blogs coming out, got some new workouts coming out. So look for those videos on Instagram on Wednesday. I hope you've been checking them out, even trying some of them, and looking forward to doing some work with some of my other fitness friends in some of these videos soon. So 6 weeks to go to my competition, just in case you guys wanted a prep update. That's probably one of the reasons why I'm super anxious these days, because I want to do well. I'm a type A overachiever all the way. So if things kind of get off base or I'm a little wackadoo, that's because I'm really excited for my June 9th competition. I'm doing Michigan State Championships. If you guys know anything about that, if not, just know it's a competition coming up. So really appreciate your attention, you guys. Have a wonderful Monday. Hope your week starts off and ends a whole lot better than mine did. But again, like I said, talking to you all gives me lots of really good energy. Definitely check out the Instagram at Figured Out Fit. Keep talking to me on Facebook, and then my business page, Figured Out Fit, website, figuredoutfitness.com. If you haven't figured it out, it's Figured Out Fitness. Okay. So at that point, talk to you all later. Have a great Monday, and talk to you soon. Bye.